Howdy. Live. Comes in here, see if anybody cares. I figure I'd give some of you night drivers something to listen to. Right? Oh, let's see. Big Red, Next Gen, Pill Rider, Juan, Anthony T, Ralph Floto. How's it going, everybody? Been watching Truckers Coach's live feed. And pretty amazing if you think about it. Scott SR Logistics, what's up? Dan Roberts was watching Pumpkinhead. We've only got 10 people in here, but that's fine. You're all number one in my book. Word, Grafton, what's up? I wanted to point out something. Pitbull Gator, what's up? Lisa, how's it going? You never catch my live feeds. How are you? It is clear to me that there are a lot of people taking advantage of other people. Starting a business is difficult. And you have to be careful of the ones who make it seem easy, right? I was watching Coach's live feed. He was talking to this driver who had all these issues with his truck. He's over at a company that tends to have a lot of high expenses associated with running under their authority. And I don't understand position, why someone would want to be in that position. Now, I'm not an expert, and no one taught me this. But it seems to me let's pretend I want to open a record store. Or no, even better, a bar. That was once a dream that my wife and I had. A pretty cool venue where bands could play. We could treat them like royalty, where they'd be happy to play there and help the local scene out. So let's say that you want to open a bar. And that business plan, you go over your costs, your estimated gross, your estimated net, how many employees you would have. You know, basically a mock scenario, if you will. You have to worry about alcohol permits, noise permits. Is the neighborhood that you want to put it in, is there a noise ordinance, Also security. What are you going to do for security? What alcohol distributors are you going to use? What soft drink beverage, are you, provider are you going to go with? There's all these things that factor in. You can't just go down to the bank, ask for $100,000, and then go open a bar. You just can't do that without doing your homework. Unfortunately, there are people that think that you can get into a trucking business without doing homework also. And there are companies that will take advantage of that. And I'm not talking about high maintenance, paid leases. I'm talking about taking advantage of the fact that the driver doesn't know how to set up his corporation, that a driver's not going to know how to do his accounting. They're going to take advantage of maybe the driver doesn't have credit. They're going to take advantage of the fact that maybe the driver doesn't know that $1.10 after fuel surcharge is not a good when they're hoping for the driver doesn't look at his actual cost per mile, which is might be closer to $1.30. They want to take the fact that you're a company driver but with no benefits, and you're funding the bill of the truck, such as fuel, plates, permits, and the truck payment. And hearing the story, like I just heard on Coach's channel, it makes me sad that people fall for this. You could sit there and blame the companies for all of it, but they wouldn't be doing it if there weren't people to take advantage of. Why would a company not take out the 15 to 23% or whatever already deducted from said 1099s? What benefit does that do for the company sending out the 1099s, using the odds that it won't be caught? I don't know, nailed it. I mean, I'm not a tax expert, and because, I mean, I do use an accountant, and that's something that they might have caught. And Big Rig CEO did a really good video about, he just uploaded today about taxes and S-Corps and LLCs and all that. And see the difference between a successful person and a non-successful person, I can't talk, a lot of times is education. If you know how to not manipulate, but utilize, that's a better word, utilize the tax laws to your advantage. That's all a lot of rich people do. They know the laws, or they hire people to know the laws and use them accordingly. Think about this. What's the difference between me and Jeffrey Like? He knows how to set up the authority. He knows how to run the corporation, and he knows how to deal with collections and there's a lot of of hidden stuff that he knows that I don't, right? So the biggest difference is knowledge. In these companies, Rick CO, Snyder's advertising on your channel. Good deal. Charles Anderson, what's up? Next gen, why would a company not take out? Okay, I already read that. I don't have an answer for that, Neil, but I'm doing all right, Clyde. It seems like it would be double the work for the company waiting for the contractors to send back their 1099s. I don't know, Neil, but I'm not. The only thing I'm going to say about the Traveloka situation is that you know, some people caught that and some people didn't, and I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's catching it now, or why it's been made to light now as far as the 1099 thing. But you know, that's something I would have easily missed because I'm not a tax person. I hire somebody to do that. And you know, it goes back to what I was saying before. You know, like, people are so desperate to get in a truck. You know, there's a company out there, I won't name who they are, but they put a lot of bling on their lease truck. Percentage or this much if you get this fuel bonus, fuel mileage, and you won't get all the stipulations of how they're going to. They put money on you, they show no money, you're paying taxes on money you didn't get. They are evading taxes, getting tax-free money on their part. But I understand what happens. I don't understand why they would do it other than driver not caughting over the charge 1099. I understand that. My question is why? Deception. From little I know, Clyde, and I'm sure that they save more on taxes than however much they spend on the extra paperwork. They're banking on drivers not keeping records and not catching it, just filing a 1099 and subtract deduction if half don't catch it. Yeah, see, and the whole. I don't want to start anything on their channel. I totally agree. It's a contractor's responsibility to run their own books. I would not. I would know what my deposits were for the year and if I had 1099 otherwise. Well, you know, Neil, then I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Most companies, contractor settlements, wow, I said that clearly, are hard to read. I had a friend of mine show me his settlements from 2 different companies that he was contracted to as a contractor. And I couldn't read them. I couldn't make heads or tails. And I asked him, okay, what's this charge? He goes, I don't know. Well, this is an important charge. It was like $800 or something like that. Well, what's this charge? I don't know. Well, what's this charge? I think that might be this. You don't know? No. All he saw was that he was grossing $6K and only taking home $800. That's a problem. That's like if you went to the store and you bought with receipt after the fact, after you spent $100 blindly, and you're like, well, what's this? What's this? I don't know what this is. Why did they charge me for this? And so it's easy for a lot of deception to go on when you have a company that's on purpose. I did a video about that. Confuse equals profit. And that's one of the biggest luxuries of being at like trucking. And no, this isn't like, a recruiter video because we can't take on anybody else right now. But the fact that Jeff simplifies it, he has streamlined his process and he simplified it. Any dollar that he's making off of his percentage, he deserves every penny of it. He doesn't get caught up in leasing truck, dealing, your P plate, and then you got to pay him back. He doesn't. And I have found that if one can simplify things, whether it be personal life, business life, because simplifying gives you back to the basics. I did the math of what I was actually paying for that truck interest-wise. I took my payments, added up the amount of the amount. I took my truck payment, the amount of months the loan was, and what the initial price truck on the loan was. And it came out to about 13%. And I remember my finance guy for that first truck called me and told me that, he goes, where do you get that 13% number from? And I said, basic math. Well, you don't understand what compound interest is, and this. And he starts giving me all these formulas, right? The only thing that I know is that I was paying You could spin the numbers and call it this and call it that, all you want, but all I know is that 13% is what I paid over that truck. And at the end of every year, the bank sent me an interest payment, and I gave that to my accountant. I had a truck, they gave me a loan, and I knew that it was going to be a high interest rate and I absolutely had no owner-operator experience. So I was grateful just to have the truck, and I got it for only $2,000 down. Think about how they write tax laws. It could be kind of complicated reading them. And you can hire somebody to read a contract for you. But as Coach stated in the Travel Local thing, there was nothing in the contract of how. So how do you catch something like that? Well, it's something that should be caught on your first settlement, right? Of how they were charging things. Again, some have said difference of $30,000 to $40,000 on their 1099. How do you run your business and not see a year-end difference of $30K? Nailed it. That is that. A lot of people don't know what they don't know. I know this sounds redundant, but it's true. In the fact that I've been an owner-operator, there's a lot of things that I've really dry here that are good at maintaining their equipment. And the first thing about running a business. I know drivers that have driven for 15 years that have failed at business, and I know drivers that are What's the difference? Education. Look, if you're watching this video and you want to be an owner operator or a lease operator, take some basic business courses. OIDA offers them if you're a member. There are plenty of online business courses that you can take that will put you in the mindset of what you need. Hire somebody that does know what they're doing. Like if you want to get your own authority and you don't know the first step, do it. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't know anything about taxes or accounting, hire a tax person, hire an accountant. If a restaurant, you would hire a manager, right? And it's easy for truck drivers to skip. They give you the keys to a brand new truck and let you run, quote unquote, your own business. Meanwhile, they'll dispatch you, they charge you for this, they charge you for that. And reality is that a lot of times you're no different than a company driver, except that they don't have to pay insurance and health benefits and Social Security and all that stuff, right? I take those figures with a grain of salt. I'm cheap. I know what comes in and what goes out. I would see a difference at the end of the year. I know, nailed it, but there's a lot of people that don't pay attention to that. You know why they do their 1099s that way, nailed it. It's probably me. Kevin and Ollie's in the house. New CDL schools should have basic business classes. Help a new guy out. They're paying good money to pass the test. At least teach them something they can use. Nailed it. But the only problem with that is that not everybody that goes through CDL school, they don't want to be owner operators. I know that when I went through CDL school, I had no intentions of being an owner operator at all. Nada. I saw my dad struggle through it, and I told myself I would not put myself through that. Kevin, I got your voicemail earlier. I will holler at you tomorrow morning. This is bubbling. I just, when you hear sad story after sad story, you hear nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. And it's no wonder that companies have such a high turnover rate. They have such a retention problem. I'll give you an example. Good night, Nothing Witty. When I was a company driver, I was in Pilot in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I was behind this driver that was with a mega carrier out of Springfield, Missouri. And he was obviously a contractor. And somebody... So I back up, I get in the fuel island next to him, and I get out and I start my fuel and I'm washing my windows. And there was a young couple in the truck. Guy gets out, he starts washing his windows. He looks at me and goes, "Yo man, you're out of Springfield, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Creating small talk, which fine, no big deal. Go in to get my fuel receipt, cup of coffee, and a cash advance with scale tickets and And now, mind you, this guy had all the electronics in his dash. His truck looked brand new. He was wearing the jacket of said company, and and it was, you could tell that he was spending a lot of money. And so, as I step up, he cuts in front of me in line, like he was. And then he asked the lady if he can get a cash advance without getting. And she said, "Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to charge. There's this charge." And then he puts his arm on my shoulder and says, "My man here can take care of it because he just got fuel. So would I still get charged?" And I looked at him. I'm like, "Dude, I ain't doing that." And the lady goes, "Yeah, that's not how it works." What it was the guy, and since he wasn't under load, he couldn't get fuel. So he couldn't get cash. And this guy is, quote unquote, running a business. Why? That happens. That is a story that happens every single day. If you have, let's say you're a Snyder and you got the MMA account, right? Let's say you got up like $5,000 in your MMA account. You think you're sitting pretty. But no, you need all new tires, 10 new tires. $5,000 out the window. But that's the cost of doing business. But other people see that $5K and they think that they're super rich, right? Running a business means having $5,000 to $10,000 in the bank and seeing it as zero. Because with the way these new trucks are, boom, they could take that out in literally a minute. My mill light's been on. Just came on today. But it doesn't have a fault, so I think it's just kind of a, hey, something wasn't right for a second and it'll go off later. I hope. What are you doing? It's sleepy time. Trucker stable. I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole, Jason, but yes, the new guy is paying one way or another for a CDL class. Basic business is balancing a checkbook and net and gross. It seems that's not given. Nailed it. You know where they need to teach that is school, high school. One of the best math class, consumer personal math. They taught you how to regular form once. Credit card accounts, how to read stocks and play in the stock market, how to purchase a car and order it. Basic stuff that you bank accounts and do check registers and all this stuff. That's what they need to teach. They don't teach that in high school. It's all about algebra and trigonometry and trigonometry. I can't even say all the math crap that they want you to take. Geometry, right? And while that might be good for someone who's got a, different forms of algebra, but then to teach them basic consumer personal math, that's why there's a high rate of student and so the truck driver, it's the fact that we don't focus on the right kind of math. since January. Late night with Solar Lord. Hey, Jeff. Right. And what credit card offers? What about this? Is like, oh, 0% interest for 18 months on balance transfers and purchases, right? But do you look at the fine print on the back of what makes it go up to 23% after 18 months or before 18 months? They're not counting on you to know that. Oh, I can get a $5,000 credit card at 0% interest. Yeah, you know. But reality shows us that basic math in school is lost. So if you're paying $5,000 for a commercial license, why shouldn't basic business math be a short class? They used to when you were back in school one. Yeah, well, I mean, it's been 1990 since I was in high school. But reality, you know, and I agree with you, nailed it. I don't know. It's a big question. Big Houston, what's up? Big Rich. I took a math of money class in high school, taught us taxes, basic accounting, interest rates, etc. They don't do that anymore. Anthony T, I agree. Yeah, let's get 2 cards to go on a cruise, right? You know, and there are people, see, but here's how they spin the cruise thing, right? Hey, you know, for only $60 a month, you can go on a cruise. And people that are broke will think, well, I can afford. That's not too bad. You know, like for example, no, we'll talk about that. And then people take like somebody like Dave Ramsey and invalidate his knowledge. Oh, that's a loud motorcycle. And because he's rich. Because he endorses products, right? Why does someone's success get invalidated because they've got it better than you? There was once an argument where one person accused another person of having a silver spoon, and this other person went off because, you know, they talked about the fact that they worked hard to get the credit that they have. And I natural human instinct, human nature, I guess would be a better term, says, well, you know, that person's better off than me, so they must think that they're better than me, which means that I can't look at anything they're doing and learn from it. Yeah. I don't know how much power my phone's got. 50%. Let's unplug it so it doesn't get too hot. And I look at successful people and I think, what can I learn from this person? If I see someone with like for example, I see someone with a Ford F-250. If you're anti-Ford, comments to yourself. And last weekend we were at the local fair, Ozark Empire Fair, and they had one. Had them sitting out. And they had one, it was $80,000. And so now, and I had no idea, I thought they were about 40 or 50. And so now when I look drive Ford F, you can think about it two ways. A person can go, man, they're lucky. Man, they must be rich. It must have been given to them, right? I look pickup and I go, I wonder what they're doing to be able to afford to buy that pickup. Now, who knows? Maybe it was given to them. Maybe it's used for their business. Maybe they're used to buy it cash. You never know. Maybe it's something that they fixed up, got in an auction, fixed up because it was totaled, and because the guy knew how to do auto body repair, he fixed it up and it looks brand new. Make a statement to think, well, that guy's lucky. Jealousy and envy get you nowhere. Right. Jace Perry says, my son has a business management class this year, his senior year. Very good. That much for a vehicle is just plain stupid on the purchaser's part. But that's the world we live in. There's so much inflation on everything. What used to be that used to be a $40,000 truck. Back when I was looking at Ford F-150s, I looked at the F-250s and they were a $40,000, $50,000 truck. Now it's 80 and 90. I didn't even pay 80 for this truck. And this truck makes me money. Now I can see buying a truck like that if it makes you money, right? Truck, yeah, but I'm not sacrifice health and family and staying out months at a time just to make that truck payment. Because debt creates stress. Debt is the currency of slaves. And these guys that are signing on with these high fixed costs, let's lease one of their trucking companies, that is a form of debt. Now, let's take Snyder Finance, okay? If you have a Snyder Finance, you're making a high payment for that truck. However, here's what you also get with that high payment. You got an umbrella to help you out. You've got a financing company that will assist you if things go south. You have an umbrella, a blanket, a safety net, if you will. That's no different than if you go out and buy your own truck and you've got $30,000 worth of credit to help with any expenses that may come out across. Snyder Finance is your credit card, okay? So there are scenarios where a high lease payment can work to your advantage, and you have to use it as a tool. For example, James Best started with a Snyder Finance truck. Within a month, he decided that this owner-operator life was for him, but the first thing he realized, we're back. Anyways, I was saying that figured out that the first rule was to reduce costs. And that's exactly what he did. And he had 3 years driving experience at that point? But he had owned business before, and he's already been through all the different pitfalls that business people go through. So of course. But I got rid of my Challenger because it was stupid. We get back and forth just fine in our Camry. Daniel Adami is jealous of my beard. He should be. Facial hair is such an obsession. It does cut costs. You know how much razors cost? Just the refill blades? It's expensive. My signal keeps cutting out. Dollar Shave Club, there you go. If you're still here, if you're still watching, if you want to go into business for yourself, that's understandable. But you have to come up with a business plan. You have to educate yourself, because if not, there are companies out there that will take advantage of your ignorance. They will take advantage that you have no credit. They will take advantage that you can't go anywhere else to get a truck. They will take advantage of you not knowing how to figure out that grossing $8,000 and only taking home $800. They're banking on the fact that you don't see a red flag with that. I did see that little Viking coach. It was pretty cool. I don't care if you're opening a bakery, a lemonade stand, trucking company. Like, for example, if I want to get my own authority, the first thing I got to do, the absolute first thing I got to do if I want to get my own authority is how much is the insurance going to cost me? How much is the ELD going to cost me? How much are the permits that I want are going to cost me? It's no different. You know what I mean? And if a person that's getting their own authority looks at those costs and realize that, you know, what their profit could be, yeah, that's the other thing. So you got to look at percentages, right? Everybody focused on percentages, but they're not focused on the fixed costs. For example, I'm going to use Landstar as an example. If I book a load that pays, if Landstar driver books a load for $1,000, he gets $650 if he doesn't have his own trailer. But not only that, so what are my fixed costs after my percentage? $1.50 if I fueled. Landstar has to pay for occupational, auto liability, ELD, and all that. Now, I still have fixed costs. I still got my plate, my trailer, my insurance, you know, that kind of thing. But that's taken care of by me. That's not taken care of by my carrier. So there's a difference. So after that $650, then you got your other expenses. Whereas me, it's after the $800 that I get those other expenses. And a lot of those numbers vary. A lot of those numbers are that's your 65%. The trucker stable. Anyways, these are just my thoughts. I'm thinking out loud. The trucking industry takes advantage of lack of knowledge. And I think that as a nation we've become complacent. I didn't know anything when I first got into this. and dealing with that and the paperwork for Landstar and after, you know, orientation went from 8 to 5, right? And then after that, you know, you go to a hotel or whatever. And I literally sat in my truck. Didn't talk to anybody on the phone. Didn't watch YouTube or Facebook or none of it. I just sat there and just completely zoned out, just completely vegetated and rested. Man, that truck's loud. Well, he won't gripe about my APU tonight then. My APU's got a huge rattle going on. I did have mentors over there. He started helping me at Landstar. You know, and I, you know, from the moment I was in orientation to when I left, I had learned a lot. The cabs class alone was a game changer for me. And it's not that I wasn't successful there. It was more that their model did not fit my needs. And when you go to a self-dispatch system and you have to go to negotiation, that's a tough learning curve there. Oh wow, I shut it off. Cool. And so once it became easier to book ahead, see, that's the problem. A lot of people come out in the spot market that have never self-dispatched before, right? And so not only are they dealing with the learning curve of self-dispatch, but they're also the learning curve of truck drivers are secluded, narcissist, lonely people. That's why they do this job. And then you got to turn around and tell them they're going to be salespeople. You have to sell yourself. And a lot of people don't have that. That's something else that's not taught in schools. How to be a good salesperson. How to present yourself in a way that people want to give you money. But it's getting to the point that I can't watch a lot of this YouTube stuff anymore because it's disheartening to see how many people are being taken advantage of and how many good drop by the wayside and leaving the industry because they get burned out because these companies take advantage of. I'd smack you around and snap you out of that daze you were in Triple T, the Mentor Whisper. I think that I went into it not knowing, not realizing the depth of what I was getting into, which I had no regrets. I mean, I'm glad I went through it, you know. But you have people taking on these high, you know. The only thing that really saved me was the fact that I kept my expenses low. It wasn't until the second year of that Peterbilt that really cost me a lot of money. That was when I had to make another step to reduce my costs. I did a couple of steps this past week that reduced my costs. I got my satellite radio lowered. I canceled one of my low boards that I was paying on that I never used. You know, but at the same time, I increased my expenses by hiring an accountant again. It's a game of pennies. You know. Taking responsibility for your own actions is being lost in our society. Quick to point fingers before taking responsibility for yourself, it seems. Landstar Lowboard doesn't charge you, silly. Thomas Wilson, you just got a notification. Dude, we've been waiting for you. I said in the beginning of this live feed, Thomas, that this was for the night riders, the night drivers. And here you are just now showing up when you know that after an hour I usually end the live feed. Look me up for $9.99 a month. You know how many Landstar loads I've done since I've been out here, Trucker Stable? 0. And it's not for lack of trying. I've called on their loads. Now, a couple of the contractors have had good luck with them. But I found the same issues when I talked to some of the agents that I found when I was at Landstar. And I'm not bashing Landstar, but they either couldn't come up on the rate that I wanted, or there were details of the load that did not work for me. Go and see the Rolling Stones. It's amazing that they're turning. Aren't they all like 90 years old or something? Light Bright, what's up? Now, I have a friend of mine with his own authority that does really well with Landstar. And I think a lot of it's the agent that you find, because Landstar has 1,000 agents, guys. That's not like an exaggerated number. That's an actual number. They have over 1,000 agents. Some have direct shippers. Some are 3PL. Some have accounts. Some don't. Some have money, but some don't. You know. And Landstar is like C.H. Robinson, but with trailers. That's what they are. Yeah, it's a rescheduled show. Mick had heart surgery. Wow. Cool. I haven't been to a concert in a long time. Not a major band concert. What was the last concert I've been to? I can't remember. It was either Crowbar or Monomar. Which you guys are like, who? And when those of you are going to see a lot of booths that want to give you something, they want to offer you something. There was a company out there that gave you a tire monitoring system that was like in the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to install. This is my tire monitoring. This and my mirrors, that's my tire monitoring device. $20. Hook you up with direct shippers. And what we do is we take a fee for hooking you up with this shipper. And I'm like, you know what that's called? That's called a broker. You know, there are people that will put lipstick on a pig and tell you it's something else. You know what I mean? And you go through these booths and you have recruiters trying to get company guys, and they promise you this, that, and the other, and they show this bling, oh, look how fancy and new our trucks are, you know, and you have all these like ELD companies and products lines, and you know, there was one guy that would literally had this system that you paid hundreds of dollars for to exercise in your seat in the truck, and all everybody wants a piece off what they charge the contractor. And so you go through these booths at a fair, and the carnies were yelling at me to play their stupid balloon games. What's this? Well, this is a device that we can hook up to your engine, and it will tell you how many bugs have splattered on your windshield. It will tell you the nearest truck stop with the app that's connected to this of where you can get a squeegee to take that off. And this is $300, but if you have a PACCAR engine, it's $350. That's the kind of stuff that you see at truck shows. Companies know that there's people to be taken advantage of. Carriers know there's people to be taken advantage of. And you have to be aware of these things. The more you can educate yourself, the more chances you will have to succeed. Make sure your debt is low. Make sure your costs are lower. And that'll allow you to learn. The last guy I heard, the minute he picked up his truck, there were issues. He even talked about that there was a crack in the trailer frame that he picked up. That conversation should have ended right there. If I called, all right, we'll get it welded. Sucks to be you because you're gonna pay for that repair. I would have been like, see ya. That's part of the problem. Is that we're impatient. We want our business now. It took me 2 years to pull the trigger from the moment that I started talking to the wife about it to when I actually went to orientation at Landstar. 2 years. It was not a fly-by-night, hey, let's do this real quick. No, struggle. And you guys, check this out. 1980s and 2019, there's a lot of things about trucking that's different, but there's a lot of things that are the same. My dad griped about the same issues that people gripe about now. Regulations, brokers, you know, the ridiculousness of it all. And that hasn't changed. Rule number, come up with a business plan. Rule number 2, if your costs are too high, don't do it. If you have no credit, don't do it. If you have no money saved, don't do it. If you don't have enough money that will give you enough fuel to get home, a rental car to get home, or a week of hotel, if you don't have the credit or the money to take care of that one thing, don't do it. These trucks will break down on you. It's not if, It's when. So how do you handle that situation? Save, save, save. Snyder Finance do. They force you to put down so much money per week towards a maintenance fund that you cannot touch. That's their way of disciplining you. People are like, well, they're micromanaging me. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that don't know how to micromanage themselves. If you have bad credit, carrier will take advantage of you. If you have no money saved up, same thing. It is extremely difficult. Now there's success stories. You know, Chad Boblet, he's always bragging about how he bought his first truck with credit cards. You know, I have a friend of mine that when he got into his Snyder Finance truck, he had absolutely no money in his pocket, but he's doing well now. We have a contractor over here that has a Snyder Finance truck. Playing in the spot market, doing well. But these are exceptions. Why is our contractor that has a Snyder Finance truck so the low operating cost from the carrier is what allows him to be able to afford that Snyder Finance payment on the spot market. That, and he's willing to go anywhere. There are people over at companies that we've talked about that are doing very well. There are exceptions to the rule. Take any company that brings on contractors or leases trucks to contractors. Do out of 100 of them, how many are still in business after 2 years? If you have a classroom full of 100 kids and 10 of them fail the class, it's probably a student issue. Or, you know, but, you know, if you have a class of 100 kids and 80 of them fail, there's a problem there. There's a problem with the system. That's why you have so many people with crappy attitudes. That's why you have people with so many negative thoughts about trucking. When I first bought my truck, or thought about buying my first truck, I had a lot of people that were failed lease operators that told me to run screaming, don't do it, don't do it. And of course my first thought was, well, just because you failed doesn't mean I will. What I later learned was that their attitudes and the companies that they chose to be with was their downfall. And so by the time they got The reality is that this isn't easy, and the only thing that can keep you going is education, keep your costs low. And I'm here to tell you that if your weekly fixed costs are $2,000 a week and on the spot market and brokers, you've got a challenge, a major challenge. I'm not saying it can't be done, but those are exceptions to that rule. The harder you make it on yourself, the harder it is to succeed. And most people won't admit their own mistakes or their own faults, or they feel trapped. You are not trapped in a truck unless someone has a gun to your head. I talked to a guy that went to a company, and after day 2 of orientation, he realized that he made a mistake, but he still signed the contract. He still went with the company. I was like, why? Did someone have a gun to your head? Well, I couldn't afford a bus ride home. I couldn't afford a rental car home. Then he had no business doing it. Go see Blackberry Smoke when they come to Springfield in October. Okay, you gotta remind me, little white coach. And it's past Pale Rider's bedtime and Daniel is 3 sheets to the wind, Thomas. Why is he exceptional? Is it because he will do whatever it takes to make his business work, or just a 4-leaf clover lucky guy? Because working, and he said, if you're talking about our contract with the SFI truck, it's because he set himself up. Oh, holy crap, I don't know. But then after talking to him, I realized that he had his act together, and that he's prepared for this. And that he came over here not because he hated Snyder, but because he wanted more opportunity. And he's doing very well. He's one of Jeff's top contractors. And that's one thing a high lease payment will instill in you. It'll teach you to work. You know how many guys that, I know one guy in particular that happened to. Oh man, I made $10K last week. Whatever. He's no longer in business. And when you talk to a broker or Landstar agent, they want you to be that guy that has a high truck payment. Why? Because you know how to make that work. Why do you think leases are weekly payments? You've been trolling, Hensley. Because it tells you that you gotta work. Let's say you have $2,000 a month truck note. It's real easy for the first week to go, well, there's my truck note, there's my trailer note, and now I can take it easy. It's really easy to do that. I know, because I was that guy. But if you go, well, the truck payment's $1,000 a week, trailer note's $1,200 or $200 a week. Oh crap! I gotta book some loads. And a lot of people mistake the fact that if you actually have, or your cost allows you to have. Just because you can choose where you go doesn't mean you don't have to work. People mistake freedom for doing what they want to do. Does that make sense? In other words, you know, I don't feel like working this week. I'm just going to go home. Then 2 weeks later, the bill collector's like, hey, dude, freedom to me is like, I don't have to go to this particular city. I don't have to haul that particular product. I feel like going south. I feel like going north. I want to avoid the snowstorm. That's freedom to me. Or I want to do a run that's 300 miles for, you know, it takes all day to do it. You know, that's freedom. But still have to work. It's time for me to go to bed. Guys, I'm gonna leave this one up. There's a message here that people have to hear. And every day I'm hearing stories of people that have put themselves in bad situations. And I'm like, why? For what? The title of owner-operator? The title of leased operator? It's just the title, guys. There's me. I'm no better than him. In some ways, he has it better than me. But in a lot of ways, I have it better than him. But that's because I have to put in the work. Freedom comes with a cost. That's the bottom line. What are you willing to pay? Anyways. Educate yourselves. Learn from others' mistakes. And be honest with yourself. Are you truly ready to go to the next step? Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with my late night ramblings. It's time for me to go to bed. I got to get up early, make a delivery, and then try to book a load at the last minute. So, you guys take it easy. See you.